Welcome back, Headbangers. Today, I'm spinning the wax with Stefan De Graef of Belgian trio Psychonaut, and we're listening to Porcupine Tree's Fear of a Blank Planet. Don't go anywhere. It all starts right now. My next guest comes from the fantastic country of Belgium, where he is the guitarist and vocalist of the fantastic band Psychonaut. And if you're a real one, you also know him as the vocalist of Hip Attractor as well. Please welcome Stefan De Graef from Psychonaut to Spinning the Wax. Man, how are you doing today? Welcome. It's so great to have you.
Thank you, man. I'm doing well. Happy to be here.
Yeah, how's your evening going? I know it's a little bit later over there in Belgium than it is right here in the early afternoon in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, you're from Nashville. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's 8 p.m. here right now. Yeah, an evening of interviews here. So yeah, I'm enjoying myself, taking it easy.
You know, this is your third record with Psychonaut, at least like studio full length record. How are you feeling now that you've kind of had this experience a couple of times, and now you're sitting on another record that is going to be moving the band forward, both musically and hopefully with new listeners all over the world?
It's definitely scary, you know. Every album is putting ourselves out there. We're not in the business of recording the same album over and over again. We love to take risks. So I'm looking forward to hearing what people think about it. I hope, of course, that they feel what we want to say with this album and that they like the direction we've gone into. But I'm excited. I really can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah, I've been listening to it a little bit, and it's just again, and we'll get into it as well as far as the immersion of the music and even some of the textures that have brought out in this one, which I know Psychonaut likes to add lots of textures and ear candies throughout their music in general, but this one it feels like just like as with any third or fourth record, all of this stuff that makes a band starts to get dialed up a little bit more and starts to you have that bedrock of the sound and can kind of, well, what if we did this with it, or what if we tried this and kind of make it still sound part of the band, and that's what I'm really excited for.
Yeah, I agree. Every album teaches us a lot about what we can do, and we discover new things every time. And that, of course, leads to other new things, and that's how it just keeps going. And it's fun to progress as a musician while you are writing music that you like. It's just the best thing ever.
Yeah, and I also feel like that's kind of the goal with a lot of musicians. I don't want to say every single one, right? Because some people might be happy to just like play their little like folk music or whatever, and play the fiddle at their local bars or something, and that's enough for them. But especially with like the music that you all play, and of course the music that we're going to be getting to in the album listen today, just I feel like the goal is to try and make yourself better and try and do things that you haven't done, and maybe even try and write some things that you're like, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna play this live, but we gotta figure it out.
Yes, that's quite accurate, actually. That happens every time.
Getting into your pick today. It wasn't my pick, even though I'm totally fine with the direction that we're going to be going. I think when people will see Porcupine Tree next to Psychonaut, it will be like, yeah, that makes a fair amount of sense for the people that listen to Porcupine Tree. But I always love these types of bands when they're brought on, where it's like they have a big audience and are legendary and they've been around for many decades, but yet there are still likely pockets of people that have maybe never even listen to a Porcupine Tree record or song or anything like that. And I have been having a lot of fun going through some of their records, and specifically this one, because I was one of those people where it's like I had heard songs here and there. I know Steven Wilson is like a master musician and producer and just like legendary musician as it is, but the album experience with this band, man, is like pretty much exactly what I want in a record. So why, Stefan, did you bring on Porcupine Tree's Fear of a Blank Planet today, which is very different than Fear of a Black Planet, which I was subconsciously typing in to Google for the first couple of times? As much as I love Public Enemy, two different records.
Yeah, I agree. Oh man, it's just one of those albums that I discovered at exactly the right time in my life. It's been so influential, and I just learned so much from it, from what is possible with music. I think Steven Wilson, like you said, is just a genius who is really good at finding the balance between creating interesting music and still making it sound like music that's very digestible and sounds very real. And yeah, when I was getting more into metal, like at the age of 17, 18, there were these few friends I had who were the prog heads. And I had always wondered, as someone who was listening to Metallica and Megadeth and Testament, what the big deal was, because I just didn't really get it that much. And there were these few bands that always came up. It was always Dream Theater, it was Opeth, and then Porcupine Tree was also always on that list. So
Mm.
I just decided to check it out one day. And ironically, this was in the age of iPods and digital downloading of music and all that stuff. It's ironic because that's kind of what the album is arguing against. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I went to the library very often to rent CDs, and then of course put them on my iPod so I could listen to them for longer. And yeah, I discovered them that way. Actually started off with their first album. Kind of made sense to me to just start with their debut record, which was so weird, and
Mm.
still love that so much because it was my introduction to the band. But I guess a few months or so later, I discovered this album, and what a ride, man! I listened to it a lot in the car. I remember when I did road trips with one of my best friends, and we just go for a drive and listen to music. We love to do that, and that was always one of the first albums we listened to, and it's just so beautiful and immersive, and everything about it is just perfect from beginning to the end.
Yeah, exactly everything that you said about it, and it does feel like a very transient album in a lot of different ways, both like mentally and physically and stuff like that. And when I was listening to it, throughout all of Porcupine Tree's, discography, I haven't listened to every single record, but I've listened to enough to see they kind of, they swell and contract and do different things, but they always have that Porcupine Tree sound about them, right? And
Mhm.
I was struck by how much, you can very much tell the influence from like a Pink Floyd or a David Bowie throughout that. They wear those influences on their sleeves, but then also, you were talking about the progressive bands like Dream Theater and an Opeth and Porcupine Tree and stuff like that. Even going back for this band, if anyone has listened to a lot of like Yes or King Crimson or anything like that, all of that is also very much layered into this record as well. And yeah, everything you were saying, it's just as kind of sad and emotional and as atmospheric as this album is, it really is just almost like putting a movie on, right? If you just like put a blindfold on, put your headphones on, your brain will probably use the music to conjure a lot of images in your mind, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of the first concept albums I listened to, I think. Of course, at the same time, I was listening to a lot of Pink Floyd and discovering Tool as well. But yeah, I love that feeling. Like if you hear a record like this one or like whatever Lateralis by Tool,
Mm.
it's like I have no idea what this is about, but I'm sure it's about something very intricate that if I dig into it, it's gonna be really cool. And yeah, that was true.
Yeah, and I did that, because I always do a cursory listen of stuff for the first time. I didn't do much research on this one other than just kind of like checking out where it was and all that stuff. So I didn't even know it was a concept album until after the first listen, went back to it, just like started looking at everything and digging into the lyrics. But yeah, you definitely get that feel for. I mean, I get that. I don't know if every single one of their records is a concept album, but all of them flow in a way that it's like, they mean for you to put this on and consume it in one listen, whether or not all of the songs are connected or not.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Is there anything that you want to say about this record or this concept or what to expect about it for people who may not be too familiar with Porcupine Tree before we get into it?
I guess remember that this is going to be very dynamic, and the first song will probably sound much different than the last one, and there is an intention behind that. So if you're impatient, just remember that the sound is going to vary a lot on this album, but it's all for the right reason. And at the center of the album is going to be the main event, I think, the beautiful Anesthetize. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I don't know, but who cares, because it's so good. It is so good.
Yeah. It's like that's the song you want to hear when you put it on, but the first two songs are there for a reason. They're gonna lead you there,
I'm excited. I've been listening to this record a lot over the past week or so, and it's gotten better every time. So, Stefan, if you're ready to do this, my friend, this is Porcupine Tree's 2007 album, Fear of a Blank Planet, in 3, 2, 1, play. I love how all of their albums usually start with some sort of soundscape or lead in to kind of put you in a, this is not just an album, but we're also going to take you through with, sounds and atmospheres and interludes and spoken word bits and samples and everything under the sun.
Yeah. A lot of ear candy.
Yeah, you mentioned that, you found this at the perfect time in your life. Was this your big intro to this kind of progressive metal style that now you kind of get inspiration for your bands nowadays?
Yeah, I'd say this one, and then definitely also the two Tool albums, Lateralis and 10,000 Days. Kind of got to know all of them at the same time in this period of 1 or 2 years, and those were massive in terms of
that is
realizing what's possible. It's like madness.
That probably changed your brain chemistry a little bit, listening to those 3 records for a while.
Exactly.
Being like, whoa.
Yeah, man.
What I didn't realize too is, you hear about progressive bands like Dream Theater and whatnot, and I like Dream Theater. I can only stand a little bit of Dream Theater, right? I like little bits of it. I have kind of hard times digesting a full album. But this band, even listening to this part right here, where it sounds like you're kind of going down that Space Mountain tunnel or something like that, where you're that transience we're talking about, where it just feels like you're almost kind of in I don't know, almost like an 80s goth club a little bit, which is the get up and the atmosphere it has with it, which, 80s goth club and prog rock, not two things that you usually put together a whole lot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if this was 10 or 20 beats faster, it's like a drum and bass.
Yeah,
rhythm
yeah.
Almost. It's it's weird. Such an haunting atmosphere. The pills that I've been taking confuse me. It's the whole ADHD thing and giving kids pills to stay calm and to be complacent. Fuck,
it is a really dark record. And when I was going through this, and I don't know if you want to talk about the concept or not, how important it is to the overall listening experience of the record, but certainly, when this came out in 2007, certainly it was, ADD, if you're hyperactive, if this kid can't pay attention, just throw some pills at him, all this other stuff. Now, and I've talked about this on the show before, early last year, I got diagnosed as an adult with ADHD for
There you
because
go.
I wasn't hyperactive and all that other stuff, right? So I went through the cracks of all the big influence because now, 20 years later, they have a lot more research and everything about it. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting listening to this record kind of with that knowledge in and seeing all of these things about short attention spans and not being able to pay attention and walking through the mall and having this narrow scope of the world rather than thinking larger and stuff like that. Very timeless, I think. Like they did a very good
Hmm.
job both tackling something that was of the time that also has turned out to be something that has now become a thorough subject through our reality nowadays.
Yeah, it's crazy. This came out in 2007. I think, did Facebook even exist at that point?
Yes,
Like
yeah,
it
that
may
was
have
at the point because
just.
it was just out, and at that point, it may have been open to people if you had a college email
Oh
address
yeah.
because I started college in 2007, and I remember when I first got I was like, oh, I can get on Facebook now, and that was like right when it started to get big.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so he's singing about people being glued to their screens before social media even became a thing. Like, can you imagine?
No, but it gets back into like, oh, MT, and he, in the songs we're gonna be talking about soon, he name drops MTV, talks
Yeah,
about like, in this one he's talking about, terminally bored, shuffling around the stores, Xbox is a god to me, like that's part of that screens, which then, we realize how bad things have gotten in the last 20 years, how fast things accelerated from,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, dude, it's getting back to calling Steven Wilson a genius about that again. I don't know if you can plan anything like this as this like kind of breakdown starts getting in or whatever you call this riff right here. Um, I don't know if you planned that or not, but that was good thinking on his part about that to tackle something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's still a problem.
Yeah. And I always thought it was weird that he was so literal, like actually saying MTV and iPod in a song.
Yeah.
It was honestly a bit of a turn off the first time before I realized what he was singing. But yeah, yeah,
Even
that's a bold move.
nowadays, yeah, even nowadays, it does seem a little dated because it was like we haven't talked about fucking iPods in 10 years, right? But
Yeah, yeah,
uh, yeah, like it does make sense, and you could very easily, you know, r- substitute iPod with or MTV with TikTok or iPod with Spot video, whatever it is, and it would still
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
be as relevant. So I agree with you with at the time and even now going back, it's like, oh, I don't know, but in the overall grand scheme of things, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, true. And the drum grooves, man. Like this hi-hat, how it just keeps the pace going. It's so good. Great polyrhythm.
What do you think is one of the main things that you took away from this band when you really started to delve into creating prog rock music for yourself? And then I guess how is that kind of filtered into how you've created with Psychonaut?
It has to be the just the idea that music can be interesting enough to just listen to without doing anything else. With a good pair of headphones, it's just as viable of an option as watching a movie. It just needs some, I mean, you need to put in some effort, you need to quiet your mind and try to really be in there, which is easier with a movie, I think.
Hmm.
But yeah, it just made me realize that music can be so much more than even one my favorite band of all time is Led Zeppelin.
Mm.
But they didn't have these types of albums. It's completely different. This is a story that's being told. It's not a collection of songs. It's yeah, just beautiful.
Did I read somewhere that maybe yourself or just as a band, part of that like introspective and that meditation is something that you all have, kind of started to employ in your daily lives? Is that something that I read?
Honestly, I wish we or I did it every day. It's something that comes and goes. I've had like, let's say, three windows of time when I was really heavy into meditation, and those were some of the happiest times of my life. So I can't believe I always fall out of it again. but yeah, it's incredibly powerful, man. The power of nothing. Just there's this album by Spangle, which is called "Nothing Is Something Worth Doing," right?
Dude, oh, yeah, okay. I am so glad you brought them up first because I was literally gonna bring them up at some
There
point,
you go.
especially when this album gets into the weird fucking like psychedelic rains and stuff like that. I
Hmm.
fucking love Spangle, man. I just
Yeah,
randomly
yeah,
came across them a couple of years ago, and I not really into electronic music or EDM or like trance or anything like that, but just something about them was like,
yeah.
this is fucking cool, and I'll give all the time for this weird like electronic world acid trance music, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's an incredible thing, Spangle. Wow. Man, the synths, man, such beautiful sounds.
It's so underrated to have a keyboard player that knows when to like push forward and pull back. Because like the keys have been going the entire time, but whether you're noticing them or not is really kind of
Yeah,
depending on what you're paying attention to, which is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so much easier said than done.
Yeah, I agree. This vocal is so good.
And the orchestrations here too on this one, they're really opening it up.
Yeah, and like you said, I think that's a cool idea to have an instrument that obviously plays notes, but that also produces sound regardless of whatever pitch it is. And it reminds me of a Belgian band called Potamus. The guitar player of that band basically plays his pedal board. He doesn't really play his guitar. He makes soundscapes with it,
Okay.
except sometimes he'll play a riff. But I find that fascinating to use an instrument in that way, to look at it as just creating sound rather than notes or pitch, you know?
Okay, so this is the song that we're
Yeah,
on right
this is the
now.
one.
Uh Anesthetize, I think is how you would say this.
I assume you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. But we've got, speaking of prog rock, Alex Leifson from Rush has a nice guitar solo towards the end of this. It's like a three-part song. It looks like it was
Hmm.
like three movements or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a funny thing about this song. It's 17 minutes long, and I never knew that. I just listened to the CD from start to finish, and I loved this one song on the album. I knew what it sounded like, but I could never find it on the track list. It was so weird. I could only find it when I was listening from start to finish. Turns out it was the last 3 minutes of this song. I
Oh,
thought it was a
yeah.
new song. I had no idea. And yeah, because it has so many different acts. Yeah, the drums, just ridiculous. How expressive they are.
Exactly. Yes, with everything else just kind of like floating there and hanging, it's like the drums are foreshadowing, saying like, don't go anywhere because even though we're kind of floating here, we're not going to be doing stuff for very long.
Yeah, yeah. Then just massive wall of synths,
That's like
great bass sound.
Cults of Luna right there, almost. Like you can
Yeah,
see
yeah,
where
yeah.
they get it from. Here's one thing too that I want to ask you about because, Psychonaut records with three members in the band. Is that how you all play? I've never seen you all live as well. Do you play with three members live as well?
Yeah, we do. And up until this point, we've always strayed away from backing tracks live because
Hmm.
we thought we should be able to do everything with just the three of us. And we can, or we could, I guess, up till this album. But we've now decided to experiment with it and see if it is actually something that could make the live experience better.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've always just done it with the three of us. In the studio, we'll go crazy. Nothing matters. Everything's allowed, right? But yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I was going to get because, I know that they've brought in a lot of like auxiliary musicians and session musicians for their studios and stuff like that. But, making music like this, like three pieces always blow my fucking mind, man, no matter what type of music it is, because when you hear them and, when a three piece sounds so much bigger than they actually are, especially a band like Psychonaut, where it's just like there's so much going on and you could very easily think like, oh yeah, like that's what it's like on the record. Like, okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you'll go in and they're just like thin, but at least from the the live clips that I've heard, not the case. What? How do you think? If you've played in a band with like 5 or 6 people versus playing in a band with 3 people, how do you all try and get, other than just being like fucking good musicians that I can't even comprehend, but like how do you try and get that huge sound with just 3 musicians playing their instruments? I don't know if you can
Yeah,
even answer that. That's that question.
yeah, no, but it is a good question because I've actually kind of accepted a long time ago that we're never going to sound as full as a five-piece band. So just have better musical ideas, I guess, was kind of the solution to that. Just make sure that even if a riff is played with one guitar live instead of five on an album, it should still just be an amazing riff and it's gonna be good enough, right? But aside from that, we have a brilliant sound guy. He's been with us since pretty much the start of this band. His name is
Mm.
Victor, and yeah, he helps us design everything from drum sounds to guitar sounds. He experiments a lot with different mics, and yeah, now as well transitioning to a digital amp with this record is a very big change for me. But he's also helped me make all of the sounds. So I think a lot of credit to him, to our live engineer.
Yeah, shout out to the crew as well, because
Yeah.
people always take for granted. It's like, yes, we're going to see a band that's 4 or 5 people on a stage, but the amount of people that both make that concert go, and also all the people that help you all to get to that point in the studio and everything like that. It's such a monumental task, and just along with everything, you need bandmates that you can get along with, and good crew that can take the vision of the band to put it forward as well.
Yeah,
For
yeah, absolutely.
for someone who may not be, as versed in music and stuff like that, if someone's listening doesn't really know the ins and outs of, guitar amps and digital amps and stuff like that, are you able to kind of explain the difference in going from a physical setup to a more like digital setup, other than the fact that like, well, you're not plugging in amps, you're just like plugging into a DAW and through a computer. Like, what is the like for you? I guess what was the biggest difference and hurdle that you had to get through from doing it a certain way for so long?
Yeah, I think I was kind of stuck, or maybe I had reached everything I could do with the amp I had. I had been playing a Marshall JVM for 15 years or so, and
Mm.
I loved it when it came out, and I still really like how it sounds, but it was always pretty limited. Um, and with this new album, it was just clear like it's time to do something else because I'm not gonna get all of these sounds out of this amp. And yeah, I realized that with a digital amp, you literally have any sound in the world, any plugin you can think of, you can use, and it's an amazing feeling of freedom that anything is possible now.
Mm.
Aside from that, it means no longer carrying heavy amps and cabinets.
Yeah,
uh, and it also even means now that there are no more pedals and no more pedal switches because we have everything time coded. So the laptop is running the session and the session switches my amp when it needs to. So
that's cool.
a
Yeah.
lot more freedom on stage to interact with the crowd and yeah, having a lot of fun.
Can you change the amp while you're like listening to like the tracks playing back, or did you change them beforehand or afterhand?
Oh yeah, in theory we could. Yeah,
Hmm.
actually, I haven't done that, but yeah, that should be possible if we record everything DI and then listen to it like that.
Hmm.
That's actually a really good idea. Fuck.
Yeah, that
um,
one's for free, Stefan. You can take that
oh,
one.
thanks.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah. No, but we've done 2 or 3 PA rehearsals over the past few weeks, and I spent days before that with our live engineer in his house, just doing all of the sounds. And yeah, it's just a lot of trial and error.
Hmm.
The sounds we made for the first time were completely not suited for a live environment. Apparently, we realized. So it was starting from fresh. Also, simply figuring out how the quad cortex worked was much more difficult than I had anticipated.
It usually is, isn't it? Right.
Fuck. It's weird. Everyone I know who has the amp says you're gonna need time to learn and you're gonna need someone to explain it to you. And I thought, yeah, really? Like how hard can it be? And yeah, of course we were arrogant and were punished for that. And I didn't know what the difference between a preset and a scene and a bank was, so messed everything up and yeah.
Jesus Christ. I would
Yeah.
be guessing. Let me see if I could do this. A preset is a preset tone that you can just go to. A scene has, I guess, all of that shit, and then a bank has a folder of all of that stuff. I don't know how wrong am I?
You're perfectly right. No, it's no, it's like a hierarchy. I visualize it like a pyramid. The top thing is like the bank, and then you have the preset, and then or the other way around. So the largest thing is the bank, then you have the preset in the middle, and then you have the scene. And the
I got
scene
you.
is the actual sound you're using,
Okay.
but the preset, that is what you're supposed to use for one song. It doesn't make sense to me because I thought within one song, I'll have five presets, right?
Right.
But apparently, you need five scenes within one preset. So I
Okay.
did everything one level too high. And the only downside, because I thought, well, what's the difference? And the only problem is that you don't get the fast switches. You get like 200 millisecond delays between switches because that's not how you're supposed to use it. So yeah, tough lesson. A lot of hours lost.
Yeah, of course. And then you find that one thing, you're like, it was so goddamn simple. This
Yeah.
entire fucking time. Yeah, I with the interface that I have recording this, and then I do a lot of streaming on like OBS and stuff like that. And I always joke with people with streaming, like if I were ever to do a memoir, it would be like, the title of it would be like, why is this not working when it's supposed to, or like something like this, because it
Yeah, yeah.
seems so easy to be able to do that shit. I can't tell you the amount of fucking time, Stefan, that I spent trying to like record through OBS and get all the different stems for this and be like, well, why am I hearing the music and the voice at the same time? Everything's layered over. It's supposed to be going on all these different stems, and it's not. You know what I had to
Yeah,
do?
yeah.
Just hit fucking record on my goddamn interface instead of going through OBS, and the interface does all of that stuff itself anyway, and I just have to export the
Wow.
sound from the SD card to whatever folder I have. Like 7 episodes of doing this shit, like for months before I was just like, huh, boop, and everything was done. So yeah, I feel you 100% on that, dude.
Ouch. Yeah, man. We should have taken the time to watch a video about it first, of course, but yeah. I assume I can figure it out myself.
Yeah, of course. How it
Th-
always is. So
This is by this part, by the way, is what I was talking about.
yes.
The
So
song that or the part that comes on now is the most beautiful part of the album. After this, the the vibe really switches.
this one is called Surfer as part. There are 3 parts
Yeah.
in this song, and yeah, dude, it just like textures on this part and just complete, like, still the same song, but completely different. Like that ding, just that one little. Oh my god.
Yeah, the production is always ridiculous. Anything that Steven Wilson does is yeah, the best sound you'll ever hear.
And
Yeah,
the
the
vocal
massive
layerings,
vocal
too.
harmonies.
Yeah, just oh my god.
The is it called a canon as well in English, where like one part starts and then halfway through that part, the part will start again and they overlap.
Shit. No,
I
it's
think it
not.
has
But we
a
call that like because row your boat doing a
yeah.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. We don't call it that, but it is called something else. It's like a sequence or I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yes, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's really cool. You barely ever hear that.
There's a couple of Priest songs, like more of their ballads, like Beyond the Realm of Death, or even some of Halford's solo stuff, like Silent Screams. They will do that with it's not it's more of a delay, so they're not actually like re-recording stuff, but
Oh
they'll
yeah,
have it just
yeah,
like a second behind, so that you hear the vocal line, and then as you sing the next one, you hear the delay of the vocal line. I
yeah.
love it. Yeah. So let me ask you something as well, given this with the textures going through and the, waves of different movements through this 17-minute song. As a, semi-experienced psychonaut, given, the relationship with the band being named Psychonaut, how is there a relationship to your music and, psychedelics or mind-altering substances that you either try and think of when you're writing, or at least have that in mind whenever you're creating your music?
Yeah, sure. I mean, kind of would be silly to name your band Psychonaut if you've never had psychedelic experience. It's been a long time though. It
Sure.
was I guess I was 20 or 21 years old studying, and just decided to try something crazy. And yeah, had some of the most insane experiences I've ever had. Completely changed everything. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, but it's not only that. It's I guess you could say it's a means to an end. Like you can get there through meditation. You can get there. I mean, maybe not in the exact same place, but the feeling of connection and just, yeah, man, the world is
Yeah.
a beautiful place. And
It's so true. I mean, the my experience is there have been times where I just had my headphones on for like 8 hours straight and like shuffled a playlist, and every song that came on was like my favorite song ever, and was just like so
yeah, yeah,
perfect.
yeah,
Or like other times where you just go out into nature, backyard, wherever it is, just put on some music. And I like to make little playlists that
yeah, yeah,
like an album, like it's like an hour and a half or whatever. They cross play and they all fade into each other. It's like supposed to be one experience with a bunch of different songs and stuff like that. So I'll kind of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
do that. So I'll be hearing the same or like songs that I love kind of for the first time again, because it's like, oh well, my vibe is a little bit seasoned by what came before it or what's going to come after it and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, it's not like, oh, you have to listen to Spangle when you're tripping on shrooms or something like that. But certainly
No, I
there are some
agree.
elements in there where the textures and the little effects that they do are a little, I think, feel like nudge, nudge, wink, wink. That if you're experiencing like this, you're gonna be like, whoa, when
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things
yeah,
come on, And Porcupine Tree, very much through all of their records, I feel like are that sort of bands. Like you don't need to trip acid to enjoy them, but they are definitely gonna put you in for an amazing time if that's what you decide to do.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. It's an enhancer. Yeah.
Yeah, enhancer. Yeah, I was just curious about that because again, with this type of progressive music and everything like that, like I don't think that Elder or Blood Incantation are tripping on LSD 100% of the time, but there
Hmm.
is something to be said about the opening those sort of doors to perception, if you will, to kind of
Hmm.
given the again introspective nature of this music, I think that you get very introspective when you're trying different psychedelics. Like you said, it opens up your mind and makes you think about certain things, and you're like, oh shit, you know, we are all this universe. And there's things that we don't even like think about in consciousness, and yeah, and music like this, I think, is a good way. What you said, that connection and kind of putting you into this trance to think about it.
Yeah, I think so too. The experience of listening to music when you're in that altered state is yeah. I don't think I've ever had a more powerful experience than that.
Hmm.
I listened to "Wish You Were Here," for
Oh
instance,
wow.
once, and man, the synths, oh man, they shook apart my entire body. Every atom in there was like hugging the surrounding atoms, and everything was so perfect. And yeah, I can't describe it. It's beautiful, and it makes you realize how, like you, I think you said a few minutes ago, everything is frequency, vibration. So music is kind of the language of the universe, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there has to be something to it, and it doesn't make sense that music sounds good. I don't think there's an evolutionary advantage to it. But somehow these 12 notes sound good to us, and yeah, weird. I have no idea why.
I wonder, and this is getting into like maybe not like wee woo territory, but just thinking about just the primal nature of our brains, how we're likely just sophisticated monkeys when you like think back to it, right? And even still to this day, we love sitting around a fire, just staring at the fire, right? Because that's what we fucking did, however many like millions of years ago. Um, I don't know, given that, storytelling is such a big part of our language and who we are as people and humans, and music in an essence is storytelling, whether it's through actual like words or whether, like emotions or journeys just like this. Because if you listen to this record without any words in it, you would still feel
Yeah,
something with it, right? And I do still feel
yeah.
like it would be, it would probably be a little bit harder to get through this whole entire hour of the music, but you'd still be able to do it. And it would still make sense. I wonder if that has something to play with it too, where it's just like there's some, inherent form of communication or something deep in down that these tones of stuff. And
Hmm.
also, now I'm just thinking about this too. I read something a while ago that talking about like when you're hearing birds or crickets at night, things like that, that inherently calms the human being because that
Hmm.
mean if there are those type of animals around, that means that it is safe from predators. Whereas if it's very
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
quiet, that means that there could be something, silence is scary and fearful. Whereas, music may be a natural extension to the birds and the crickets and the nighttime sounds or something like that. I don't know, spinningthewax@gmail.com if you want to get on this philosophical, spiritual conversation. But that would be my theory. I have nothing to prove that, but that would be my theory.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I can imagine the point of music being some way of calming yourself down, and yeah, like you said, sound being an alert to danger, and the absence of sound being just as
Hmm.
scary. So yeah, you have those chambers, right? The like the minus 20 decibel chambers where it's completely silent and supposedly people go mad.
Yes, I believe
That
that
must be
again.
weird.
Speaking of LSD, I'm
Wow.
pretty sure the CIA did that during MK Ultra. They just put a bunch of people
Oh
in there,
yeah.
both on LSD and both by themselves. And yeah, if you're in there, if you're like complete silence, you just absolutely go insane. Because I think you're hearing like your blood rushing through your veins and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
fucking like no
Yeah,
way.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like
No,
it.
no, that's not for me. I'll skip that one.
This song, Sentimental, you were just talking about Wish You Were Here. I thought that this song has huge David Gilmour vibes throughout, just the way that it
Absolutely.
kind of, the waves of sound that goes through in this. Again, this huge 17-minute song that kind of, ends in this airy open spot going into, again, another almost airy open song. I mean, this song is called Sentimental,
Hmm.
and it definitely feels like that.
Yeah, and this is when the album goes really hard on the psychedelic stuff. The last two songs are just really, really crazy
Yeah.
and scary in a way. Just beautiful soundscapes, but very haunting and hypnotizing.
So I imagine this is your favorite Porcupine Tree record?
Yeah, yeah.
What would you say would be like 1A or like, 2, 3 or so if you could even pick?
Oh, probably In Absentia, number two.
Okay.
And for nostalgic reasons, I'll say On the Sunday of Life, the debut record.
Mm.
It's such a funny story. It's basically Steven Wilson just making a joke, kind of ironically making an album to sound edgy and just like yeah, it's a weird story. It's such a weird album. It has these spoken word parts in it where there's like one of the songs is called, what is it? Message over an explosive turnip, and it's just like 20 seconds of this message will self-destruct in five, four, and it's just
Yeah, yeah, I
very,
see it.
very
Track number
strange.
7.
And then space transmission is like God saying that the sun has stopped shining, and what, I don't know, an incredibly weird album, but I love it. Yeah, a song on there that I think is still really good is Nine Cats. That's the song that he still occasionally plays live.
I have, I think, heard that one. I think some friends have played that one for me.
Yeah, and Jupiter Island, the opening track. Yeah, beautiful, just like this one.
Yeah, this is one of those like heavy songs without being heavy type of deal.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was reading that this was about a couple of teenagers that apparently possibly could have died by suicide by train, but there is also who we don't know if it was an accident or not. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the fan was apparently a very big Porcupine Tree fan and possibly could have been listening to this band on her
Oh
iPod
yeah.
before
Yeah,
she
yeah, yeah.
died, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
I was reading when I was reaching for this something you said in a previous interview about how the Psychonaut records are, connected in a way that the next one you said was going to be like a sequel to the other one because you just automatically assume that the next one is going to come after the next one. It'll be like a next, an open, or, a natural extension of what you're doing.
Hmm.
Did that kind of, was that a self-fulfilling prophecy in a little way? Is that kind of how you see World Maker now, or did it kind of go a little bit different than maybe you would have thought it once Violate Consensus Reality came out?
Yeah, I mean, what I do remember that after Violate, we were so burned out on these big world problems and trying to fix everything. It was our COVID album, right? The world was
Right.
messed up. So we were really happy that that was done. And I didn't think that the next album would be about me becoming a father per se, because
Mm.
that's pretty much the basis.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that happened. And when we found out my wife was pregnant, I couldn't really imagine writing about anything else being more important and relevant in my life. So that's how everything started. But in a way, it's the same thing as usual. We write about the things that are most important to us within a certain period of time. And
Hmm.
this album is much more personal, but it's exactly that. It's just what was going on in our lives. And I'm happy with the fact that it's such a different album as well than the previous ones.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought that I thought Violate was way different than the debut album as well.
Yeah.
I listened to that. I love doing, especially with these interviews, if a band is coming out with an album, and if it's been a few years since their debut, whether it's been like 3 albums, 4 albums, whatever, going back to listen to that first album, or sometimes even the one that they did before that, to kind of see like, okay, I have the new one fresh in my mind. Now let me go back to one of the old ones with that. And yeah, it was weird because, not to say that the first album sounds like a primitive record or anything like that by any means, but you could just see the, growth in musicianship and even just like song structure and songwriting from just, that one album in between that I think is really cool. And, also again, talking about an introspective record, I mean, like, I can't even fucking imagine what it would be like becoming a father for the first time in a time period like this. And I think a lot of those, anxieties and those feelings are kind of like woven through the fabric of the music in this record, which certainly, because you weren't a father on the last record, those certainly weren't there last time.
Yeah, that's right. It's a very powerful emotion to draw from. It's yeah, crazy, man.
How's your child doing?
He's really good. Yeah, his name is David after David Gilmour.
Oh yeah,
And
hell, oh, that's I love that. That's
yeah,
awesome. Is his middle name Gilmore?
no, no, no. His you're not gonna believe this, but his middle name is John.
Okay, yeah. Wait, let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. He's named after my dad. But yeah, he's good. He's about to turn 2 years old in a few
Wow.
months.
Cool. Congrats, my
Yeah,
friend.
thank you, man. Just listen to this, man. The heavy violins.
This is what you're talking about with like the scariness and the uncomfortableness and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the not quite right of it all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They just keep ascending.
It's like you're waiting for that jump scare.
Yeah. And then it goes to this weird industrial drum sound in a bit.
With like a funk bass line too.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Like this is so cool. Final song.
Final song. Look at that. This album flows so quick. And I know we've been like having good conversation with it as well, but this is a Nine Inch Nails song, and you can't convince me
Yeah,
otherwise.
exactly. Yeah, that's right. I never thought about that. And then the acoustic guitar still going is such a weird choice as well, but it works.
I thought that was a distorted guitar.
Yeah, at least I think it is. I kind of hear like strumming.
Yeah, no, I do
strumming
too.
on.
I hear it. Yes, it is. I
Yeah,
love when
yeah,
they do that because I've talked about this as a trick a lot, having the acoustic guitar over the distorted or whatever, just layered. Yeah, I didn't even hear it until you said, but I can hear it in the right, like way back in the right channel somewhere.
yeah, yeah,
Music's cool.
yeah. That's a fact.
Yeah.
bass groove, man.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned the bass too much on this record, but it's fucking great. Who was it? Was
Yeah.
Colin Edwin was on this record. I don't know if has the lineup stayed relatively the same throughout the years, or has it popped around a lot?
Well, Porcupine Tree isn't really actively playing anymore. They
Sure.
did a few shows, I think, last year when they
Yeah, because they had
suddenly,
that record come out.
yeah, they released an album with like some songs that they had lying around for 10 or 15 years. But I do remember that before they quit, let's say, that the guitarist who also sang quit because I think he wanted to go solo. The bass player, I don't know about. The drummer, yeah, I mean, Gavin Harrison is right after John Bonham, my second favorite drummer of all time.
Oh
He's
wow, yeah.
incredible. Don't even know what to say about him. But the bassist, I've never seen Porcupine Tree live, but the videos I've seen, the bass player is the happiest, most chill guy in the world. He's just standing there smiling, playing with his fingers, his bass up pretty high, like a big guy.
He's
Yeah, I
doing the
love
prog
to watch
rock
it.
bass, like
Yeah,
up here.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah.
yeah. It's just really fun to watch.
I love that. Yeah. So, yeah, Colin, I'm looking at the timeline on Wikipedia. Yeah, he was pretty much from. I mean, they say he was in here from like '93 on. It looks like.
Oh yeah,
Um, and yeah, he didn't come back for the reunion, the new album or whatever. But he was on
I
there from
see.
pretty much. What is their discography? Pretty much from. The Sky Moved Sideways on until their last album, The Incident. So he was with
Yeah,
them for a pretty long time. Great bass playing in this. There's that bit in
yeah.
Anesthetize where he has that like fucking like almost like new metal groove where it's just like, fuzzy, distorted bass tone going in there with the drums and
Yeah.
everything like that. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did think that this was kind of a weird choice for a song closer. Not necessarily a bad choice or that I'm,
Hmm.
upset with the choice, but it's like I would have kind of expected this one to be, this big bombastic sort of like leave you at the edge of your seat type of deal. But this one kind of like the song is good, but then it just kind of like fades away after these
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah, remember fade outs?
I do remember fade out. I don't have too much of a problem with the fade outs. I know
No, me
people
neither.
fucking hate fade outs. What are you gonna do live? It's like, well, just
Yeah.
whatever else you do with some of your other songs. Are you gonna scream the samples
Yeah.
live? Yeah, but I don't have a problem with fade outs. But that's just me.
No, me neither. Yeah. And there we go.
Dang, there it is. Porcupine Tree, Fear of a Blank Planet. Yeah, I could see why that is your favorite Porcupine Tree record because I might be colored now. Biased going into other records now, being like, is this Porcupine Tree record I'm about to listen to as good as Fear of a Blank Planet? Because holy shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah, what a ride. It's I'm never gonna get sick of this album. It's great. One of my favorites of all time.
Amazing. Do you have any? I know I'm not going to keep you too long after this because I know you got an interview to get to. But do you have any last parting words about this record? And I know you mentioned your favorite Porcupine Tree records. If someone like this record has never really delved into Porcupine Tree, where would you recommend them go after this?
Yeah, I would go for In Absentia is definitely an amazing one as well. Yeah, The Incident is kind of like the big one that put
Mm.
them on the map at that point. So yeah, definitely that one. But if you're up for something really interesting, then go for the debut record on the Sunday of Life and just see what happens because it's a journey.
Be prepared to get wacky, everybody. You're going to be
Yeah.
hearing things you're like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it has electronic drums on it that he programmed himself. They sound
Oh.
so bad, but they still work. So I don't know why.
It's like when you listen to
Yeah,
a punk record, you're like, none of this is in tune or on time, but I fucking love it. It's great.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh man, well that's so good, Stefan. It has been so good hanging out with you and listening to Porcupine Tree talking about your band. I'm so happy that you are releasing this new record with your bandmates and you're getting it. This album that is pointing the way forward for Psychonaut still, and you've been able to get out what you want to in this record. So, for people that are going to be listening to this, what do you want them to take away from World Maker when they inevitably listen to the record?
I hope they can enjoy it. They can feel what we are trying to do with this album. It's is pretty much just a celebration of music and of life and the cycle of life and death, as it has been a very tumultuous year for us last year.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just hope they get the same feeling that I get when I listen to bands like Pink Floyd and Tool and The Ocean and whatever, in terms of immersive music. Yeah, that would be great. And if not, then that's all
Yeah.
good. I'm still happy with
Yeah,
it.
yeah, you're gonna be out playing these songs live, and touring across Europe and the world anyway. So, yeah, once again, congratulations on that, my friend. I'm sure that anybody that's been a fan of this band, either since the beginning or since Violate, will really enjoy this record as well. And I hope it brings you and your band all the success that it can. And hopefully, you guys can get over to the U.S. sometime. If I don't see you somewhere in Europe when you're on one of the summer festivals or something like that.
Yeah, man, we would love to.
Yep. Well, Stefan, thank you so much for sharing your time with me, for sharing this album, and sparking my interest in Porcupine Tree, my friend.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.